This is specifically for the people who have Saturn retrograde in their chart. So if that's you, listen up. Now that Saturn is direct, and it has not been direct for that long, things are going to start popping up that need to be taken care of. Oh, great goodness. Saturn retrograde. When you have a Saturn retrograde in your chart and Saturn in the sky, like the transit that's happening is also retrograde, not only are you getting things together, but you're moving on. You're moving forward. What's your next position? What's the next seat of hierarchy? Where are you going? How are you preparing yourself for that while also simultaneously going after that? So there's actually a lot of clarity during Saturn retrogrades for people who have Saturn retrograde about order and structure and different hierarchical stuff that Saturn has to do with. Getting your life together is a lot easier during a Saturn retrograde if you do have a Saturn retrograde. Except now that Saturn is direct, it's not in the natural position for people who have a Saturn retrograde in their chart anymore, which means that there's more work to do. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that great? There's always more work to do with Saturn, but oh goodness. So if you have Saturn retrograde and you are starting to see things pop up that need to be taken care of and you're like, why is this even happening right now? It's because of that specifically. The good thing is though, if you've done the work during the Saturn retrograde to get things in order how you need them to, wherever Saturn Pisces is in your chart, and also just around like transitions, that's part of Pisces. Within your spiritual life, that's also part of Pisces. If you gotten stuff in order and you like have the extra time, you're able to, what I do, because I also have a Saturn retrograde. What I do is I give myself like a month, okay, to get everything done I need to get done, because really just a bunch of stuff pops up. Oh, this extra email. Oh, and this other thing that you did that you totally forgot about. Oh, and this thing over here. It's usually a bunch of small stuff. When Saturn retrogrades, it's usually like a bunch of big stuff or some big things that need to get put into order, but when it goes direct for people who have Saturn retrograde, it's like a bunch of small stuff that's going to take up your extra time. Understand that those are restructures and reorders so that you can have even more power the next time that Saturn retrogrades. It's just a vicious cycle and it doesn't stop. Oh, you want more power? Okay, well, constantly. Doesn't matter if it's Saturn retrograde or Saturn direct. You have to be further inspecting and keeping things together. It's so much. But you know what? I would rather it be so much or too much and be able to receive the things that I would like to receive and like do the work to earn them rather than just like not having the opportunity to do that. That's true. Anyways, there's a bunch of small stuff popping up in my life, so I thought I'd share that because Saturn retrograde is over. And while everyone else who has a Saturn, just regular old Saturn in their chart, gets to go back to living life as long as they've done the work, okay? So check in on that. Me and anybody else who has a Saturn retrograde in their chart, we are officially handling the small details of business and getting things structured so that we can move on and move forward. Always overtime. Always overtime. If you have a Saturn retrograde in your chart and you do anything that has to do with hierarchies, always overtime. You're always putting in overtime. But you put in the time at the beginning of the Saturn direct. By the end of Saturn being direct, oh my gosh, life looks so easy. So that's a plus. Gratitude, reverence, and love to you. Keep it up. Keep doing what you need to do. I'm gonna get up and get my day started. And I'll talk to you soon. That's true.